In this video, we're going to cover the effect that lifting weights has on depression. Surprisingly, we don't talk about topics like this all that much in fitness, even though we know physical and mental health are deeply intertwined. So let's take a look at some new data that might illuminate us on how intertwined one part of things really are. Initially, it was considered that the exercise option for treating depressive symptoms was aerobic exercise or cardio. Eventually, though, researchers turned their attention to resistance exercise like lifting weights. And although some studies were developed in the past several years, the overall data on lifting weights for depression is still quite sparse, and more research would be great. Luckily for us, more research has been done, and we're going to look at one of the newest studies right now. In this 2023 8-week randomized control trial, researchers wanted to see what lifting weights twice a week had on depressive symptoms in 55 healthy young adults. Although there were no clinical diagnosis, after being assessed with a 16-item quick inventory of depressive symptomatology, or KIDS, the scores indicated that the participants ranged from having no signs to moderate signs of depression. And those with moderate signs fit the criteria of having analog or subclinical major depressive disorder, or AMDD. The researchers then stratified the data to observe outcomes specifically in AMDD subjects and compare the effects of resistance training to a control group. And what they found was pretty interesting. Overall, it was pretty clear that lifting weights had a positive impact. In just 1 week, a large magnitude of effect was observed with resistance training, yielding clinically meaningful reductions in depressive symptoms that were significantly more than the control group. But in my opinion, the more intriguing part is that from week 1 to week 4, reductions seemed to plateau. But from week 4 to week 8, reductions were once again large and clinically meaningful. And to note, no differences were observed between males and females. So it seems that there is some sort of two-part effect taking place, one occurring almost immediately after lifting weights for the first time, and another taking a bit more time to realize. The reason for this split time effect, however, is not too clear, but if I had to guess, it might be tied to one of the potential limitations of this study. You see, when we introduce any exercise into our lives, we're also simultaneously introducing other significant changes, like introducing new skills to learn with your new exercises, and introducing expectations of ourselves to improve. And specific to the study, since subjects were being supervised, they were also introduced to new social interactions and attention. Similarly, anyone can be introduced to new social stimuli every time they go to the gym, especially if they go with a friend. So it's possible that having new exercises to learn and new social interactions might initially improve mental well-being, and then consistently meeting one's own expectations can provide another boost 8 weeks later. But frankly, that's not really a knock on lifting weights itself, since it is the lifting that introduces these secondary factors in the first place. And again, this is my personal opinion on why we might be seeing these two reductions at different times. It may very well be something else. But let's get back to the results, cause it does get better. The reductions in depressive symptoms observed in this study are actually higher than reductions observed in studies using cardio. On top of that, it's even higher than reductions observed with antidepressants, at least in this specific population of young adults with mild to moderate depressive symptoms, which to be fair is pretty common. And finally, by the end of the trial, 95% or 18 of the 19 participants with AMDD that lifted weights remitted from AMDD, meaning that they showed such large improvements in their symptoms that they no longer met AMDD criteria. Ultimately, the findings make a rather convincing case to lift weights to potentially treat early signs of depression, at least for young adults. Now to close, I do want to share one final personal opinion. We need to talk much more about mental health within the fitness industry. Of course, fitness experts aren't mental health experts, but if we as an industry are always harping about improving people's lives, then it's becoming abundantly clear that having a full and earnest discussion on fitness needs to also consider mental fitness. For now, we can at least say that chasing muscle and strength gains might help us with chasing some positive well-being gains. And if you agree with me that we need to talk about this more, then I would like to ask you to please help keep this conversation going. If you enjoyed this video, please give it an earnest thumbs up and share it with your mental health loving friends. Subscribe for more and let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to get your protein.